getting married, so I'll just call you back after that and schedule. How many of you would have said, oh, okay, we'll talk to you later then? How many of you would have said that? And again, if you didn't raise your hand, you lied about other stuff too. So,
I
you know,
said, get in here, we need to bleach your teeth for pictures.
there's another good.
That's good.
I didn't think about that. That was good. So bottom line is, if we just keep working with her and staying in rapport is key. Rapport is key. If I didn't have rapport with her, she may have said, no, that's okay, I'll just call you back. True? And if I wasn't willing to listen to what she said, well, I need to wait until after the wedding. Okay, well, the wedding's October the 5th. Let me go 2 weeks after that. That way I know the honeymoon's over, grandbaby's on the way, her schedule's kind of settled down. You know, her schedule's going to lighten up again, so she'll probably have a little more flexibility that week. Right? And the more I go back and still stay in rapport, I keep going back until I find a time that works for me. And most people, as long as you're flexible, as long as you're willing to meet them halfway, most people will be agreeable. And at least now, I didn't just leave it up to her, because how many of you know that if she said, well, I need to call y'all back, how many of you know most likely with the wedding and the honeymoon and all this, how many of you know most likely she would not have called back in a month? Yeah. So we would have either had to make a note to call her, or we would have to wait until she comes back through, as we're going through all of our charts, we would have to wait until her number comes up again, which could take 3 months. And if it takes me 3 months to get back, and I just spent this time renewing our relationship, now I have somewhat planted a subliminal message that says she didn't care that much. Do you follow me? Yes? So that's how we make those calls. And again, you have to if you can't influence yourself to get instead, you're never going to be able to influence her. You've got to be able to influence yourself first. You've got to be able to recognize, is my head down, am I doing this? If so, you've got to put those shoulders back, head up, put a smile on your face, and put yourself in that physiology. Just like we talked about yesterday. And it works. Now, how many of you, as I had this, by the way, even though you couldn't see me, did that feel forced to you? Did it feel fake or disingenuous? Okay? And I didn't have to look at her, but those of you out here, how many of you noticed that as I was talking to her, my facial expression and what I did seemed like I was looking right at her? How many of you noticed that? Mm-hmm. That's how to do it and be effective at it. Okay? So, how many of you are excited to go back to your office and create this bonus opportunity for yourselves? Mm-hmm. Good deal. So, here's what I'd like you to do before you leave. And I will tell you, this one team I was sharing with you earlier, I won't mention the practice name, but they're up in Madison, Tennessee. I've been working with them since February. And we've been having this reactivation conversation for a while. You know, coaching them along, how to do it, when to do it, what to look for, different strategies to use. I mean, we've been having this conversation ongoing. And I was on the phone with the doctor, and we were having one of our calls, and I said, so what is working? Because I noticed they weren't keeping their commitment. And the team had a commitment to reactivate 15 patients a week into their hygiene program. And he said, well, it just seems like they don't have any time, and nobody's really doing it, or Carolyn will do it sometimes, but everyone's expecting Deb to do it, and Deb's getting overwhelmed, and she's only getting like 3 to 5 a week, and the commitment's 15, and all this kind of stuff. So after he and I had that call, I went back in for their next in-office meeting, and I had a very open conversation with the team. And my request of them, and it was a quality request more or less, but I basically asked them to help me understand how it is that they know what's at stake and what's on the table, and they're expecting Debbie to do it all. Help me understand that. Where Debbie does all the work, but you all reap the benefits. Help me understand that. And of course, they gave me their story, and I tried to be very understanding and empathetic. I get it. I know schedules get crazy. Dr. Taylor's been in the hospital. He had open heart surgery, so we're down. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of challenges going on. But life gives us challenges, and it gives us challenges often. And we can either see the challenges as God's punishment, or we can see the challenges as His invitation for growth. That's all challenges are. Challenges are presented to us because it's an opportunity for us to expand as people. It's an opportunity for us to change our perception, change what we're doing, change our commitment level, change all of those things. But some of us get so stuck on the challenge that we give up what we want because of the challenges. How many of you have ever done this intelligent thing? So I had this conversation with this team, and I asked them, I said, Deb, stand up. I said, as the hygiene reactivation source person, you are accountable to lead this activity. I'm counting on you to lead it. I'm not counting on you to do it all. And she said, well, good, because I can't. And I said, good, because I don't expect you to. I don't expect you to create the entire bonus for the entire team. And so I looked at the team and I said, ladies, I think you owe Deb an apology. Because for the past several months, she has felt like she had to do it all, and no one's been stepping up to show her any different, and everyone is being affected by it. And so I said, Deb, I said, here's what we're going to do. I said, I'm going to show you how to coach your team to help you drive this. And so she stood up, and I said, okay. I said, what's our goal? And she said, 15 a week. And I said, perfect. I said, the way you want to coach this is you want to go around to each of your team members and you want to, first of all, let them know, out of this 15, I personally am going to reactivate 4 a week myself. Personally, I will do that. And I need support from you guys to reactivate the rest. And so when she made that request, I went around, and it wasn't just a blanket request. I went around and said, okay, Ashley, how many will you give her every week? 2. And Ashley commits to 2. We write it on the board so that there is accountability. And then I come over to Debbie and I say, Debbie, how many are you going to give her? 2. So Debbie's going to give her 2. You start on the page. So Ashley's going to give her 2, and Debbie's going to give her 2. And how many can you give her? 3. And Michelle, how many can you commit to give her? 2. And how many will you commit to give her? 2. And yes, they have 12 team members, so I need 12. And how many will you commit to give her? 2. And how many will you commit to give her? 3. 3. 2. 3. I like it.
She's always one up in there.
2, 3. And how many will you commit to give her? 3. 3. And how many will you commit to? 3. 3. And Deb said 4. Now add up those numbers.
26.
26. What is their goal?
15.
Now, here is what I want you guys to get. After we had this conversation, and they knew that when we asked for a commitment, we mean it. And we put a board up in the back so everyone could log in and make sure they communicated with Debbie how many they were getting. So every single day, she'd go up and she said, okay, I committed to 3, I got 1 today. Then she'd go up and she said, I committed to 3, I got 2 today. So there was accountability about this. So we went around, we had like a commitment of, and I think actually the commitment she was able to get was closer to 40. Guess how many they got? 56 in 1 week. In 1 week. That is the power of commitment and diligence and teamwork.
Yeah.
I mean, supporting people, even when it's hard, even when you can make an excuse. When you put your butt on the line, you show up. You show up. I mean, mothers in the room, do you ever get a day off from being a mom?
No.
Have you ever gotten sick?
Yes.
Do you call in sick? I'm sorry, honey. Mom just can't do it today. I got the flu. Have you seen that commercial? Hilarious. Yes. Hey, buddy, okay, come in today. And it's like an 8-month-old or something. See, we never call in sick to our families. We figure out a way. We put our big girl panties on and we show up, don't we? Maybe we ought to do that for each other a little more often. So, any questions about this?
But I'm thinking about what you said yesterday about being systematic about
Yes.
it. That there is a method as far as which church to pull, which, is it?
Yeah, when you're
How
doing
do you report it?
hygiene,
What do you do?
when you're doing, there is, and we have a set of monitors where we can track what people are doing and how they're doing it. When it comes to hygiene reactivation, one of the rules is any patient who has not been in the last 6 months. And I usually start with those who haven't been in a year to 2 years. So I want to start with the low-hanging fruit first. Does this make sense? And actually, active patients are defined as anyone who has graced your door in the last 12 to 18 months. So initially, we're really focusing on those people anyway. We're typically not going back to 1989. Okay? And so as far as do we want to focus on who to call, the only time I want to be selective in who I'm going to call is when I'm trying to fill broken appointments and no-shows. I want to be selective because I want to focus on people who have flexibility in their schedule. I want to focus on people that can come in at short notice. When it comes to reactivation, the biggest thing is doing a chart audit, looking for the personal information on the patient so that you have something to get back and rapport with them with. Okay? Now, over time, you will make distinctions about times of day to call. You'll make distinctions about numbers to call. So you'll begin I think it's important that if you pull a chart, you want to know that they have kids, they have spouses. Can I reactivate a family with one phone call? So yes, there are those strategies. But I think the biggest thing is just getting off your butt and calling. Someone told me one time, and I honestly don't remember who it was, but he said, ignorance on fire is more powerful than intelligence on ice. Sometimes we want to know so much, we want to have it all mapped out that we don't even get started for a month. So, I mean, the thing is, just get it started. And you can make those distinctions about, well, we call it this time of day, we rarely get anybody. We call it this time, we get more people. And if I focus on after 3 o'clock, I know I can reach the teachers. If I call them before 3, I know I probably won't reach them. But that means if I say I'm going to call them after 3, I've got to call them after 3. And sometimes, their schedules are very unpredictable throughout the day, right? So I never know when I'm going to have that window of time to invest in this. True? So I think we've just got to audit the chart, we've got to reach out, we've got to express our concern, and the moment we get someone on the phone, direct them to the openings that are available.
Okay, I've got a question. What do you do, and we just had this happen last week, where we have been sending out recall cards, people that haven't been in a while, sending them call, and then Amy has been following up, calling them. Well, then we got a patient that called and said, you sent so-and-so a card, and she seen me in the grocery store yesterday, and she said y'all sent her a card, and y'all called her, and she feels like she's being pestered.
So
what do you do there?
Change your verbiage. Truthfully, change your verbiage on the phone. Because when we're getting that kind of response, I want everyone to hear me, when we're getting that kind of response, it means I tried to reactivate them and I didn't have rapport. And any time you try to get someone to do something without rapport, they feel bothered and pestered and harassed and stalked.
Will you leave messages then?
You can leave messages, but I wouldn't leave the